In this video, I'm going to explain to you how to do the synchronization exercise correctly and how to create long-lasting results. I'm also going to explain most common mistakes that language learners make when they practice their listening skills and the consequences of those mistakes. Then I'm going to explain how to correct these mistakes and integrate the most effective learning strategies into your daily practice. A lot of people practice incorrectly, which leads to strengthening the incorrect patterns that they actually want to get rid of. Let's start with why. Why do you need to do the synchronization exercise? There are two main reasons why language learners find it hard to understand fast, natural speech that we hear in movies. Reason number one is that they simply do not know the words. And that's understandable. If you do not know a word, if you have never seen or heard it before, there is no way you're going to recognize it. When we listen to native speakers, the only thing we can do is recognize what they say. You can't recognize what you've never seen or experienced before. The second reason is that people can't hear what they know, meaning they cannot recognize the words that they know when they hear them. If you show them the same words written down, they go like, I understand these words, I know every word here, but they can't recognize them in fast, connected speech. These people usually demonstrate great writing and reading skills, but it's very difficult for them to listen to people for an extended period of time because they feel like they need a lot of time to process the information that they're receiving, and they're always behind. A person keeps talking and they're still stuck trying to figure out what was said 5 minutes ago. I need to make an important remark here. When it comes to reason number two, a huge factor that inhibits people's ability to hear words and phrases clearly is their own poor pronunciation. If you pronounce words incorrectly, consciously or unconsciously, you will always find it difficult to recognize English words in fast, natural speech. As soon as your pronunciation improves, your listening skills will improve. And vice versa. As soon as you start working on improving your listening skills, your pronunciation will naturally improve as well, because you will naturally become more attentive to the pronunciation of certain sounds, regardless of whether people are aware or unaware of these two reasons. They make the following mistakes. Mistake number one that a lot of language learners make is that they watch English movies or other video content in English without the subtitles. For some reason, they believe that they are supposed to understand everything without having the subtitles on. If they have the subtitles on, they feel they're cheating somehow. But if we remember that our brain is doing the task of recognizing words when we listen to English speech, then what happens when we turn the subtitles off is that we're able to recognize only the words that we are able to hear and understand anyway, which means you're not improving your listening skills, you're simply maintaining the same level that you have already achieved. If you want to learn to hear and understand more than you already can, you need to do the exercises that will lead to concrete improvements. The consequence of making this mistake is that you stop improving. Mistake number two is that people sit down to watch an entire movie thinking that this experience is going to improve their listening skills. To consciously improve your listening skills and speaking patterns, you need to make sure that your focus is super sharp. When you sit down to watch a movie, your attention is not going to be focused on improving your listening skills. Your attention is going to be divided. What is divided attention? Divided attention is a type of simultaneous attention that allows us to process different information sources and successfully carry out multiple tasks at a time. When you watch a movie, you can pay attention to a number of things happening on the screen and eat popcorn, talk to your partner or your children, scroll your Facebook feed, look at your phone, prepare a meal at the same time. There's no way you're going to be focused on improving your pronunciation or vocabulary or your listening skills. The consequence of making this mistake over and over again is that you never actually learn to practice your listening skills. You're convincing yourself that sitting down in front of a TV screen and hoping for the best is enough. The third mistake is that people watch the video content only one time. They do not go back to specific movie scenes to improve their understanding of certain words and phrases. The consequence of making this mistake is that you teach yourself to apply the same strategy, which is hoping for the best. Instead of doing deliberate work to improve your listening skills and your pronunciation skills, you're strengthening the belief that your listening skills should improve on their own. All you need to do is simply press play. Unfortunately, that's not the case. The consequences of repeatedly making these 3 mistakes is that problem number 2 gets worse, which means people can't recognize the words that they know or they think they know. Let me show you some examples. Look at this word. How would you read it? How about this word? And this word? These are very common English words. You'll hear them in a lot of movies. I don't know how you read these words, but I know that a lot of people think that this word should be pronounced as gauge. But in reality, this is gauge, and this is choir, and the pronunciation of this word is kernel. If you do not know the pronunciation of these words, you are never going to recognize these words in fast natural speech, because you will be expecting people to say gauge or choir, meaning you will be expecting other people to read the words exactly the same way that you read them in your head. This is why we do the synchronization exercise, to synchronize the meaning of the word, the spelling of the word, and the pronunciation of the word. We practice recognizing the words that we see. We recognize not only their spelling, but also pronunciation. Another vital skill that we practice when we do the synchronization exercise is recognizing connected speech. English has a very specific rhythm and is created by contrast between long and short words. Some words in a sentence will be longer, louder, and higher in pitch, and some words will be short and reduced, and they sound like they're not even there. Look at these examples. A lot of people will be tempted to read this phrase as send back. But what you're going to hear in movies is send back. Send back. The D is lost. Or this phrase, last time. It's not last time, it's last time. The T in the word last is lost. How about these examples? I wish I could drop out of school. Out of school becomes out of school. He's not in his room. He must have gone out. I think he went to the park. Okay, I'll look for him there. Can you see that hem is pronounced as M? The H is not pronounced because it helps with the rhythm. When I show this phrase to people, he is not in his room, they say, I understand the sentence. It's easy. But as soon as somebody says, he's not in his room, they go like, what? Your brain cannot recognize what it thinks it knows. So many think they understand, when in reality, they don't. If you cannot write down every word of what was said, it means you didn't understand it. Because in order to understand it, you need to recognize it. When we do the synchronization exercise, I will often show you how to listen to specific phrases and what to pay attention to when it comes to connected speech. The more movies you watch with me, the more examples of connected speech you will see. So how to do the synchronization exercise correctly and to fix all the mistakes that we've talked about before. Number 1, when you do the synchronization exercise, focus on reading the text on the screen. Think of it this way. The actors in every movie are reading the script. Even though we can't see them read from a piece of paper, they're reading the text from memory. That's why I want you to be reading too. You will be reading the text that you see on the screen. This is how you improve fast. You learn from their reading to improve your reading. Number 2, you listen to a specific line as many times as you need to until you have achieved 100% comprehension. What is 100%? It means you have heard and recognized every single word that they said. A simple exercise that you can do to practice connected speech is press play, listen to one sentence, and ask yourself, how many words did they say? If you think that you can hear the general meaning of what they said, but you don't know what words they said and how many words they said, you haven't heard what they said. Focus on recognizing every little word, every article, every contraction, every preposition, everything. Every exercise contains 2 video files. Please use the second video file where you can practice line by line. Go back to the phrases and sentences that were particularly hard for you to understand and listen to them again until you can hear every single word that you see. This is what I mean by 100%. Number 3, if it's difficult for you to listen to a movie at a normal pace, reduce the pace. You can listen to each line twice when we do the synchronization exercise, and the second time we'll listen to it at a reduced pace. This method helps you hear the connections between the words. When you reduce the pace, these moments become obvious, and you can find a lot of joy in actually hearing them. Number 4, speak the lines. When you practice line by line, you can mute the video and say the words that you see on the screen. Try to say them as fast as they say them. This is how you will practice implementing connected speech and integrating all the things that you're learning with these videos into your own speech. If you notice that it's hard for you to read the lines, or you can't read them as fast as you should, listen to those lines a few more times and try again. Don't try to listen to everything and then read everything. Repeat every line immediately after hearing it. Instead of imagining how it should be read, simply focus on repeating how they read it. Number 5, practice stressing words correctly. I will bring your attention to the moments where some words are longer and louder, and some words are reduced and spoken very fast. Pay attention to these moments and practice emphasizing certain words like I'm doing now, and then de-emphasizing certain words like I'm doing right now. It's easy to hear which words are longer in the video files practice line by line. To be able to do all these 5 things, you need to concentrate on the exercise. If possible, remove distractions and practice in a quiet room. Wear headphones for better experience. And practice concentrating on the exercise. You want to be focusing on what you're seeing and hearing at the same time. This is why we call it the synchronization exercise. We need to synchronize these processes because for many people, they're disconnected and separated from one another. They either read the subtitles or they watch a movie. They cannot do both. We want to teach our brain to focus on both because these are the same aspects of one word. One and the same word can be seen, heard, and understood. We need to integrate all these 3 aspects, but it's not an easy task. That's why you need to do this exercise regularly. And of course, we want to enjoy this practice. That's why we practice with movie scenes. It's important that you follow a strict order of steps. First, you watch the video without the subtitles and you self-diagnose. How much did I hear? How much did I understand? How many words was I able to recognize? If necessary, watch the first part without the subtitles twice, because we're able to concentrate better the second time. Then, you watch the video line by line, paying attention to each line and each word in the line, making sure that you synchronize the spelling, the meaning, and the pronunciation of the word. Then, you watch the entire scene with the subtitles, making sure that you can see the situation as a whole. It often happens so that people watch the same movie, but only some of them understand what's really going on in a movie. And finally, you go back to step number 1. You watch the same movie scene without the subtitles, and you compare how much you can understand now with how much you were able to understand in the beginning. I am guiding you toward transformation. I want you to travel from I can't understand anything to I can clearly hear and understand every single word in the scene. Try to pause here and measure your result. You will understand substantially more at the final stage of the exercise. However, I want you to measure your result and achieve 100% understanding. This is why I'm asking you to work with the additional video file, practice line by line, where you can go back to certain lines where you haven't achieved 100% yet. If you listen to them a few more times again and focus on matching the words that you see and the words that you hear, you will hear 100% of what they're saying. Remember to focus on hearing what you see, never the other way around. If you want to take your practice seriously and consciously work on these improvements, I'm encouraging you to write down your result at the end of every exercise. Did you achieve 100% understanding, yes or no? And how much time did this take? Did it take you 20 minutes? 18 minutes? Measure the time that you need to achieve 100% understanding. I look forward to doing new synchronization exercises with you. Please share this video with somebody who needs this explanation. And let's practice understanding even more movies.